Have you forgiven No Man's Sky?
No.
Really?
No, thank you, though. No.
Oh, okay. So No Man's Sky, I never bought it, by the way. I want to preface that. I've known about it for the most part since it released. It had a lot of lofty promises, which I thought were likely not going to happen. Told you so.
Got him.
No, I mean, like, there was just a lot, like, to deliver on, and it just didn't really seem like it was plausible for it to come out and not be a disappointment in some way. So for me, I waited on it. Like, I didn't pre-order it, I didn't pick it up, and it came out and everyone was super pissed in it. Didn't really at all live up to what it was supposed to.
No.
It was supposed to have multiplayer at launch, according to the head of the game, Sean Murray. He said that it would you'd be able to like see other players, and that like by seeing other players you'd be able to know how you looked because you'd be able to see them, and like whatever they have equipped, that's what it would look like on you. Stuff like that. Turns out, game came out, you don't really have an actual body or way to see yourself. Like, you have a body, but like no way to see it. There is no multiplayer. You can't interact with other players really in any way. And there were other features that were also highly exaggerated, such as the fact that planets, like depending on how far they were from the sun, that was going to affect what resources was on the planet. Because it was a procedurally generated universe, you know, so it was like, it was held to a standard of quality through an algorithm, but they didn't make every planet, like, individually. It was like the computer generated the universe.
Oh, okay.
So what ended up happening was the game was kind of mediocre, didn't live up to its promises. Fast forward now 2 years, the game is getting another update, No Man's Sky Next, which plans to offer even more content, which I know you have the list pulled up.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick summary. So,
thank you so much.
What can I say? That's what I get paid nothing for.
Exactly.
Just thought everyone should know.
Why you're not very good at your job.
Yeah. So, the details are you can team up with a small team of friends and explore the universe together, or be joined by random travelers. You can help friends to stay alive, or prey on others to survive. Tiny shelters or complex colonies that you build as a team are shared for all players. Fight as a pirate or a wingman in epic space battles with friends and enemies.
It seems like you're reading this off a teleprompter.
I really am, thank you.
Is Sean Murray paying you?
Yes. It's very advertiser friendly for Who made this game, by the way?
Well, it was, Sean Murray was in charge of it, but it was the studio, what is the name of that studio?
Didn't he go into hiding after all that stuff? Like, he basically didn't reveal himself until recently?
Kind of, yeah.
That's what I heard, is that he kind of just fell off the face of the earth because it went so horribly. And now that things are starting to look up and that it might be a competent video game again, that he is starting to show up and take credit for it.
Yeah, because it was Hello Games. I was trying to remember the name. It's, for some reason I was thinking like, Hi.
Oh.
Hi, Games.
Hi, Games. Yeah, and then you get to customize your character a little bit more and race on racetracks with a, like a car or something.
Which is probably the least interesting
addition,
cares. But it's something.
Yeah.
Also, they had released one of their first updates added in bases, like base building.
Oh, okay.
And then eventually they added in vehicles to traverse the planets, which actually, when the game launched, there were no vehicles. There were some like famous interviews, like I think one of them, he was on Jimmy Kimmel, and Sean Murray, that he was just like asked, like, oh, is it going to have multiplayer? Like, are you going to be able to play with your friends? He's like, yeah.
Wait, he said it like that?
Yeah. It was kind of like a non-committal like thing, where I was like, okay.
Do you know what Kimmel said? He just like,
yes.
Oh.
I don't know, but
I don't know.
It's just
I think
weird.
I personally I didn't buy the game either because I thought it looked interesting, but it was never something that was really my kind of game, honestly.
Well, you don't like games that are that open.
No,
because it's more of a time sink.
Right. And so I looked into it, seemed interesting, and like all the promises, like you said, were blatantly made across multiple talk shows. Like, he was everywhere, and so for them to kind of at least try to repair it. I mean, it's been, 2 years since the game launched, though?
Yeah, about.
So it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's a lot too late. 2 years after launch, and it's just starting to become competent. I don't know.
It is. It's also weird. It's a weird situation though too, where it's like they didn't have to go back to it. They could have taken the money and left.
Oh yeah.
So I was very surprised that they continued to work on it, like that crew. They had gotten some money from Sony, from what I remember, for like timed exclusivity.
Okay.
Not like, it's not like it was like permanent exclusivity, but it was timed, so they had it for a while. And then at a certain point it could come to Microsoft as well, to Xbox. So
was Sony, Sony had to have been pretty like annoyed at the way that it turned out.
Yeah,
because they probably paid a good amount of money for that.
They never really like came out and said like, yeah, we're pissed, but like there was a lot of rumors that they were unhappy with how it turned out, just because it reflected poorly on them a little bit.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, hey, you guys footed a bill for not a piece of crap, but like a mediocre thing that kind of lied.
Well, I feel like Sony's exclusives are part of their big marketing thing. Is they have like
it's like how
phenomenal exclusives. So it's just I don't know.
It's kind of Sony's taken the approach that Xbox used to take with like really caring about their exclusives. Xbox doesn't seem to as much these days.
Yeah.
I think they're working on it more now, but Sony, they have a bar of quality that it doesn't really seem like they like things to fall below.
No.
And even though they didn't make it, it was like a third-party timed thing, and it did make them look bad.
Right, and I don't know. It was a very hyped product across obviously many talk shows, like I said before, and it was just for it to be that big of a disappointment. And then I think for me personally, like the game's a lot cheaper now, and it would be something that if there was a time to buy this game, it'd be now.
Or after this next update, because
right.
They're not going to charge you anymore for it.
Right, it's a free update.
It's weird because the question, do you forgive No Man's Sky? I never really had a problem with it.
No.
Because I didn't buy it. I never felt wrong to buy it. I think I would have if I bought it. It would have been more of a Battlefront 2 situation where it's like, oh wow, there's really good things here, and the rest is garbage.
Right.
Where you kind of feel not like an idiot for buying it, but like maybe I shouldn't have paid what I paid for this.
And then you maybe got taken advantage of a little bit.
Yeah, or that at the very least you weren't really thinking about your purchase. You weren't very informed. A lot of times when you buy things ahead, you can't be like well informed because you don't know whether or not the thing is actually going to live up to what it said it is. And No Man's Sky really has been like a rallying cry type thing. Like this, it's been this weird, not scapegoat, but kind of scapegoat in the games industry now for people being like, this is why you don't want to buy things ahead of time. This is why you don't want to
like pre-order months in advance, which I guess is like, I don't know, like
it's true.
There's a huge thing you don't want to. Yeah, I feel like even so, like you can pre-order something and the reviews usually come out a couple days before launch, don't they? So you can still
usually if there's not a review embargo, yeah.
Right. So then you can typically get, if the reviews are bad, then you just have to make a judgment call there if you want to get your money back.
Don't cancel your pre-order.
Right.
Or even if it's not worth. I mean, some people don't want to waste the time. If it's really not worth going into GameStop or wherever, like I don't buy many things from them, but I know a lot of people pre-order there. If it's not worth going to GameStop and canceling your pre-order, just biting the bullet and taking the $5 loss, even.
Oh, right.
And just not paying the other $50 for your game or $55 plus tax, Because sometimes people do that too, where it's like, this looks terrible, but I also don't want to go into GameStop. Well, I'm just not going to cancel my pre-order, but also not going to pay the other $55 and pick this up.
Right. I'll save my time, save my money, because that's kind of the problem. Is you still have time typically to make that change, and you shouldn't have to make the change. You shouldn't have to, especially in cases like this where you're promised one thing, and maybe reviews aren't always specific enough either, so you don't get all the details that you need to make that decision to cancel it. So then you get it, and then you're kind of stuck with it. So I mean, really, it just comes down to something that we've been talking about pretty consistently, and that's just games making what they're supposed to make and making a product that is supposed to be quality and that what is promised is delivered, and if not, you get horribly ridiculed for it. And completely
or you
obliterated.
should. You should. Yeah. And there's also a case too of people taking things too far. So like, I don't want to get off topic. Sometimes we go a little, too deep into a topic and like go off on something else. But you and I were talking about The Last Jedi earlier. Remember this? went to a store and we were talking about it because
Oh,
we
yes.
saw it there. And we were talking about how we both enjoyed parts of the movie, but how compared to a lot of the others, it was kind of a mess. And like, yeah, that was a shame. You know, but that's kind of where the conversation ended. But then you brought up like, yeah, did you see like how people are still taking it so seriously, like on Twitter, and like are still like genuinely angry about it and like pissed
the
off.
director.
And
Yeah.
like there have been people who've like threatened like Ryan Johnson, like literally, or like even like people harassing the actress who played Rose, like
Oh yeah,
and
that was
just,
a
like,
huge thing.
bullying her. And it's like at a certain point, I think things need to be let go. It's like maybe learn your lesson about the hype of like a game or movie and be informed next time, but like don't take it so personally. People were angry about No Man's Sky, like beyond belief.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you would think that they like traded in their like meal tickets for like the next month to get this game, and then it turned out to be terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, if you have, you know, the $60 to blow in this game, I'm not saying someone should take your money and run and like take advantage of you, but you're gonna be okay. You know? Like it's gonna be alright. Probably take it seriously and at a certain point move on.
And you are kind of taking a risk when you buy a game. If you
Well, especially when you buy it ahead of time.
And that's part
I
of it.
bought Battlefront 2 ahead of time.
Oh right.
I did not read about the game. I watched a couple trailers. I was like, Star Wars, yay. That's basically what I did. Because I really like Star Wars. And I wasn't informed about it. And you know what? The game came out. Wasn't very good.
Right. Yeah.
And that's
it was
my
horrible.
And that's my fault. Because I didn't care to wait. And I didn't care to like be informed. And it comes down at the end of the day, like, look, yeah, companies lie, and that sucks, and they shouldn't be allowed to do that, right? But at the same time, there's like an amount of personal responsibility when you buy something that, like, yes, they should have to deliver on what they are going to, but we know they don't. We know that a lot of these companies don't care to deliver on what they say. They have to meet certain deadlines, and just because you're angry at Sean Murray or someone else doesn't mean that there weren't also, you know, 5 or 10 other people on the project who didn't care extremely about the product, weren't like emotionally invested and totally devastated when it came out as garbage. You know, we never know this, but usually when games are pushed out, there's a couple people on the team that are like, guys, we should wait, we should not be putting this out. It's like, yeah, how about we put it out, or you're not gonna have a job because we have to meet this, you know, deadline.
We've
That's
already
what we
wasted
said.
this much money.
Yeah, and you either put it out or you're fired.
Well, that's the thing with the gaming industry too. Not every game is going to be game of the year. You are going to have some duds. It's the same thing with movies. Same thing with really entertainment in general.
Yeah.
You're going to have some winners. You're going to have some losers. You're going to have some money grabs, and you're going to have some genuine like phenomenal games and movies.
Right, you're gonna have your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Michael Bay, and,
Right.
and you're gonna have Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's why for some of these games, we just have to wait and see what they're gonna be.
Right.
Me personally, like looking at this, I'm actually somewhat interested to try No Man's Sky now because I never did.
Well, with it being, it's not. I feel like it's not a $60 game.
No,
So like
no.
getting to a point now where it's cheap.
It's
can
worth
get it,
less than $20 now.
Oh, you get it pre-owned, and it's. I think that's fine, and you can get it for super cheap. No one is really playing it, I don't think, anymore. And I mean, with the update, maybe, but
Yeah,
if
there was a bit of a flood back with one of the updates, and I don't know since then. I think that was the first or second big content update.
Okay.
And I'm not sure now because it's being talked about a lot, but I think for a lot of people, it's like you said, especially if you spent your money on it, too little, too late. Like the bad faith is now there, and it left a bad taste in people's mouth, and they're not going to want to.
They probably already sold the game, or
Yeah.
returned it, or just got rid of it in some case.
And
'cause-
can you blame them?
No, not at all.
At that point,
No, not
like
at all.
if you bought this for $60 and it was a huge letdown, I totally understand being annoyed and getting rid of the game and so on. But if you're someone like me, never bought it, and now it looks fun all of a sudden, you know, paying $15 to try this thing out and put 5-10 hours into it.
Right. It sucks for the people that spent $60 and should have gotten what we would be getting now.
Yeah.
That sucks. But that's unfortunately just how it turned out. And that's it.
And it is unfortunate, and I think that it should be remembered for sure. At the same time, I feel like I'm not sure if I would buy it used or whatnot, but like if the game is now good, I didn't suffer at all from it, I wouldn't boycott a fun experience out of principle if I know it's fun or good. But I would like to wait and see if this content update actually delivers on what they say, because
Right.
if the main game didn't, I'm just interested to see. Anyway, guys, let us know what you think down in the comments. I think that's about all I have on it. Let us know what you think about the game. Is it something that you would go back and play if you still owned it, or would you buy a game like this, like way later, used or new, or just no out of principle? I'm actually interested what you guys have to say about it. And we'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.